Okay. So again, welcome everyone no for our new session sa ating CCNA version 1.1 no CCNA exam review. So balikan natin saan na ba tayo? Okay. So andito pa rin tayo sa sa network access, okay, which is 20% no of the certification exam. So ito, tapos na natin tong part na to. We're done with this one, spanning tree. So I think ang kulang natin is this one, no, yung CDP and LLDP. So yan ang tackle natin ngayon. And then also the rest are wireless LAN. I think um, matapos natin most likely lahat next week. And then we will be proceeding to the next exam objective, which is IP connectivity, which is 20% no, of the certification exam. So I think we already have covered, ilan ba? We have covered 40% already, no? Until next, all right? Until next week po yan. So let us start with again, let me show my slide. Okay, ayan. So we're here in Cisco Discovery Protocol and the link layer discovery protocol. Okay, so let me have this here. Yan po natin. Maximize. Ayan. So again, good evening everyone. And thank you for attending to this session. And I hope you will learn something today. And if you are, of course, aiming for the CCNA certification exam, then this would be a good avenue for you to review. So, Cisco Discovery Protocol and Link Layer Discovery Protocols. What are these? So, these are actually a layer 2 protocol which is used to discover other devices from a local device where CDP or LLDP are enabled, as well as these protocols are enabled on the neighboring device. So what exactly happens is that with Cisco switches, no, by default, CDP is enabled by default. However, LLDP is not. Okay. Now, as you see, CDP is Cisco proprietary. So if you are looking for a similar protocol and which is considered to be a standard, and that would be the link layer discovery protocol or LLDP. So as what I have said, this is a discovery protocol and which is used to discover neighboring devices by leveraging layer 2 connection. Okay? So let's see. Punta tayo sa ating demo. And by the way, these are our way to configure and enable the protocols globally using CDP run and LLDP run. However, if you want to enable or disable these protocols on pair interface basis, then you can use the CDP enable, LLDP transmit, and LLDP receive, and you can use the no option to disable it. All right. And to verify, we can use this show commands, show LLDP, show CDP for a while. I think there's is some mistake in here. Ano ko lang. This should be CDP. All right. because the other one is LLDP. We correct that. And if you want to see, if the what you call this, the CDP is enabled, then you can use the show CDP command. If you want to see neighbors, then that would be show CDP neighbor as well as show CDP neighbor details. So we'll see about what informations we can get, out of CDP as well as LLDPs. Let me just put it there. Yan. So let's have a demo. What would be our topology? Our topology is this. We'll have two switches. We have a center switch. This is our core, for example. No? And a switch. Then we'll have two more switches down here. And this is our switch one, access switch one, and this is our access switch two. And this will be connected up there, here, and here. And I think our connection, this is a 48 port switch. So this is a 48 port. This one is also a 48 port. And this one just a 24 port. And I use, I think, 23 here. Going to port 24. And then the port 24 here goes to port 24 in switch 2. While port 23 in switch 1 and 2 is the port that will connect the two. So to give us this kind of topology. So we'll try to check on CDP, what informations we can get out of it, no, in this environment. And we'll um check things out at the core. And I think we're in the switch one and the switch two as well. By the way, sorry. We will just telnet the core switch to verify things. No? Now, one thing to note here is that these links are already configured trunk. So this is a trunk, this is a trunk, and this one is a trunk. So let's see that um, in the CLI of switch one. So let's see. Enable show interface trunk. So we have port switch one. Sorry guys. 48 port pala ito. I forgot. I used the last two ports. Let me correct that. I think for a while. Sorry. Saan tayo? Where was that? For a while, guys. Ano yung LLDP ko? Oh, sorry. For a while. We save that. And I'm going to erase this. This should supposed to be, I think 47. Sorry, this is 47. Am I right? No, it's 48. Sorry. Let me verify for a while. Ano, we will just check these things out. Ganito na lang. We can use CDP and LLDP, by the way. Tingnan na lang natin, no? Tingnan yan natin. Let's erase that. Let's erase that. Erase this one. Let's go to switch one. To switch one. Okay. Here, we can actually see that in the CDP protocol. So we are in switch one. So we're actually here. So show CDP. So CDP is enabled by default. So what are these information? CDP packet is sent every 80 seconds. And the hold time is 180 seconds. So what does it mean? Meaning, switch 1 is sending in every 60 seconds a CDP packet. And what are included or what are the information can be found in that packet? So there are significant informations that can be drawn, no, from that packet. So let's see. Show CDP neighbor. So this will give us the summary of neighbors. So in access switch 1, it is connected to core switch, as you can see. And the core switch is connected in port 48. Yan. It's connected in port 48. And then on the other side, this is connected to a 3850. So as you can see, that is a good information to know. This simply tells us that switch 1 is connected to a Cisco Catalyst 3850 switch and it is connected at port 23. So that's right. Okay. While switch 2 is a 2960X. Okay. And it is on the other side, it is port 47. Okay. So therefore, and the local interface is also a port 47. So as you can see, with CDP, these are the things you can get, no? And in fact, you can actually map, no, your network, no, by using informations that was drawn from the CDP packet that the core switch is sending every 60 seconds, as well as switch 2 is sending every 60 seconds in switch 1. And as you can see, the whole time here is this should not goes below 180 minus 60, 120. So this should not, this information is actually counting down, but it should not goes below 120 because every 60 seconds again, the value here will be reset back to 180. Okay, so let's check show CDP neighbors. You see, so it will not goes below 120. It has now reset back to 180 and it's now back 128 as you can see. Now this refresh every time the switch receive CDP packets every 60 seconds. So as you can see, it's now back up to 180 seconds. All right. With the show CDP neighbor, so you will just simply get a summary. This simply tells us that the neighboring device, core switch, as well as the access switch 2 are actually switches. No? They are switches and they suppose the support for the IGMP. All right. There you go. But let's look at um show CDP neighbor detail. Now you will get a lot of more information out of this command. So will provide us what particular details. Let's see. Let us see. Okay, core switch have an IP address of this one. That's also a very good information to have. Aside from that, this switch is actually running Catalyst 3K CA Universal Key 9M. The version of the operating system is 12.2. So having this information, you will know what the version of your um, of the Cisco iOS um, of this device. No, what else? Those things, native VLAN, the duplex mode. But the significant one really here, especially for attackers, guys, is the IP address as well as the version of the operating system. Okay, so there are two CDP entries. So these are again very, very useful command to know more about neighboring devices. And with this, you can map your topology. No, you can just simply telnet the neighboring switch and then try again, show commands there to discover no other devices beyond this device. So if there are, all right. Now let's look at things, similar things, using the LLDP, and let us see if LLDP is running on this switch. Let's show LLDP. As you can see, LLDP is not enabled. So let's now enable it globally. NFT, CDP, sorry, LLDP run. That's how you enabled LLDP globally. Okay, so let's check that out. No, do show LLDP, enter. So the status is now active. Advertisement of LLDP packets is more frequent than CDP. It is every 30 seconds, and the hold time is 120 seconds. LLDP interface reinitialization delay is 2 seconds. All right. So let's see what else we can get. Now using do show LLDP neighbor detail. Let's just have neighbor here. It seems that there are no LLDP neighbor found. Why? That's what I have said. LLDP is not enabled by default. So we just enabled LLDP in switch 1. So we need also to enable LLDP in switch 2, access switch 2, as well as in the core switch. So let's try enable um, LLDP here in switch 2. See? So LLDP run. That's done. Show LLDP name, show LLDP. So it is now active with similar timers and with switch 1. So show LLDP neighbor, and you will notice that they now learn about each other. Okay, so it seems that ACS switch 1 and switch 2 are now learning each other because they are actually sending what you call this LLDP packets every 30 seconds. And what is the capability of this device? It's a bridge. When we say bridge, it's actually a switch. So we know that a switch is a multi-port bridge. Okay, so those are the things we see. What about with the detail keyword? I think you will get similar information like the MAC address, the local ports, no, the host name of the remote device, the version of the operating system. What else? Um, IP address, of course, of that device. Okay, so very similar information as what we see and get using the CDP. So again, um, the difference is that CDP is Cisco proprietary, so this only works with Cisco switches. If you are dealing with, if you wish to discover those other vendor devices that supports LLDP, then you need to have LLDP enabled in your Cisco switch. So let me enable LLDP in the core switch. So let's tell it. Actually, the core switch IP address is 10.10.100.254. Oh, we should be able to telnet that. Cisco, enable, Cisco. Okay, so let's enable this one. LLDP run. Okay, So we're done. So let's see. Show LLDP is now active. And what about the neighbor option? So core switch is connected to both access switch 1 and access switch 2. All right. Let's see with detail. So you will see informations again like the version of the operating system of the iOS as well as the IP address of the neighboring devices. No? All right. So that's actually what LLDP is. Is there any question, guys? May tanong ba tayo? So this is very useful in order to map your topology. You don't have to go to, let us say, neighboring devices, telnet them, and then verify things. Okay, with CDP and LLDP, you will see significant information that may be useful just logging into one of the device in which CDP and LLDP is enabled, as well as in the neighboring devices. And one good thing, you can create then a topology, no, of your network by just simply tracking devices, their connectivity, the local interface connected to the interface of the remote of the neighboring device, and so you will be able to um, create a map, no, of the switch topology, no, of the switching topology. And by the way, they should also be able to learn about routers connected. No? So as you can see in the flag here, our router is also supported. Access point, repeater, okay, stations and telephones. So another things. Okay. What about show CDP neighbor? Very similar. No router, bridge, no. That's the typical two-port bridge before a switch. Computer can also be detected. No, IGMP enabled device, repeater, phone, and others. All right. Now, what if I want to disable LLDP, and what are situations where you disabled CDP? This is when actually, for the sake of security, let us say if this is a computer here, and this is maybe port 10, for example, in switch 1, you need to disable CDP and LLDP there. Why? Normally on access switches, if, for example, you're concerned about security, no? Especially with the guest um, um, networks, you know. So let us say if I want to disable, see from here, in switch 1, let us say interface gigabit 0/10. If you wish to disable CDP, the command is just no CDP enable. And if you want to disable LLDP, the command is no LLDP transmit as well as receive. So you don't want to transmit and receive LLDP packets. So that is more granular than the CTP enable. Okay, so no CDP enable will disable both. Um, all will prevent no your switch to send CDP packets and of course receiving CDP packets. All right. Question, guys? Wala naman. So if we will try this, by the way, on trunk, so that you'll see. So let us say if I'm going to, let's check, do show CDP neighbor. I'm going to disable that connection to port to the other access switch. So let us see if I'm going to disable 0/47. So this is what will happen. No, no CDP enable, no CDP transmit, as well as receive. So let's see what will happen. Okay. So show CDP neighbor. So let's just wait for a while. Okay, we already disabled it. So because the hold time is around 180 seconds no, for CDP. So this should goes down below 120. I expect that it should go slow. I should count down to zero until this line will be removed. So as you can see, it's now 119 because right now CDP packets from the neighbor is no longer um, what or are dropped no by the switch as we disabled CDP as well as LLDP. So it's moving down as you can see. So let's just give it a while. So that's what we mean by 180 seconds. No? So 180 seconds is the whole time where those information from the last CDP or LLD packet received will be held in its database. We have 67 more seconds to go. And finally, ACS switch 2 will no longer be seen in this um, show CDP neighbor command. Actually, switch 2 is still sending CDP and LLDP packets. However, switch 1 is not, okay, is no longer, um, you know, receiving. No, it will no longer be or simply drop no, those received CDP and LLDP packets. Let's give it a time. Yan po. Okay, it's 8 seconds to go, 4 seconds to go. And finally, there's no more ACS switch to neighbor here. All right. Is there any question, guys? Hi, everyone. Andyan ba tayo? Wala naman? So the very essence of CDP and LLDP is again, it's used to discover neighbor. And with this, um, the local device can able to discover whose are the neighbors, no? What are their capabilities? And also getting informations about those neighbor. And of course, those neighbors should support no CDP and LLDP. And another thing, you can use this to track and build your switching topology no by determining devices connected to what device. So those things. Okay? And don't forget, CDP is Cisco proprietary. And if you wish to discover other devices other than Cisco, then we need LLDP. And those other devices should also support that same protocol, the link layer discovery protocol. And again, these are layer 2 protocols. All right? Question, guys? None? So that's all about um, CDP and LLDP. So let's move forward to wireless. Okay. So we will be covering at this point um, 2.6. So that's describe Cisco wireless architecture and AP modes. Ano ba yung mga different um, modes no ng isang AP? Okay. Okay, so let's have just a break for a moment, guys. Just a water break. So just around 5 minute break. Okay. Paki-verify lang po kung makikita niyo yung aking screen. Hello guys, nandiyan tayo. Ha? Andyan ba tayo? Paano naman pa-confirm? At least I know that everyone is here and still listening. Hello? Andito ba lahat? Pa-thumbs up na lang if mahiya kayong magsalita. Hello guys, andyan ba tayo lahat? Hmm,
Yes, sir.
okay. Ayan, yung iba, andito ba? Alright, sige. Now, this is just part of wireless LAN. So I think I have some demo for wireless LAN controller that will be next meeting. Okay, for the rest of the topic. So sorry for that. This should supposed to be it's not spawning tree. What was this again? We started in 6. All right. Hmm, sorry for that. Hindi ko na nabura. Yan. Okay. So let's talk about wireless technology. So different types of wireless network. I know you're familiar with this one, the Bluetooth, no? Also, we have this category of what you call wireless man. So ito yung ating mga WiMAX, no? GSM, CDMA, okay? And of course, our wireless one, like our satellite. Oh, so that's a good example there. We also have what? The Starlink now, right? So now for in a small network environment, then we can use and we can leverage the wireless LAN technology. And this is what we are using right now. So what basically the benefit of a wireless network? So mobility and adaptation um, to technology change. No? So that's actually the benefits of wireless network. So we will focus our attention here in wireless LAN as of today. So we have actually two frequencies, okay, that we are using nowadays. That's the 2.4 and the 5. And I think there are new um, 60 no gigahertz um frequency. And historically we started actually with IEEE 802.11. So when we say 11, this is actually a series of standards, and we actually started with 802.11. So this was the 2.4 gigahertz, wireless LAN technology with the DSS modulation technique at a data rate of 2 Mbps. And with the 11A, so this is actually utilizing the 5 gigahertz frequency, and the modulation technique is OFDM, no, at a speed of 54 Mbps, while 11B is DSS at 11 Mbps, but this is not backward compatible with 11A. While G is using 2.4, it's now using OFDM and at 54 Mbps, but this is compatible with 11A. Okay? And the 11N now can use both 2.4 or 5 gigahertz. With N, this supports even a much higher bandwidth because of the MIMO technology. Multiple input, multiple output. Okay? So this is a um, allows no multiple users to transmit receive no by utilizing multiple antennas. Okay, so to support gigahertz, sorry, gigabit per second bandwidth, this is now the 11AC, which utilizing 5 gigahertz frequency at 8 MIMO OFDM modulation technique. And right now, we have already the Wi-Fi 6, the 11EX. Okay, it's an 8 MIMO and OFDM. So this is our Wi-Fi 6 now, which supports a much higher bandwidth. Um, Again, supporting gigabit per second, gigabit per second. So, wireless LAN is technology is really evolving. No? It's really evolving. Though the challenges are really in security. However, with the current technology of it, now these challenges are also being addressed. Okay, so I just want you to remember that with 2.4 gigahertz frequency band at the 22 or 20 megahertz bandwidth, you only have three non-overlapping channel, no? And these are the 1, 6, and 7. So what does it mean? Meaning if you're going to utilize 2.4, if you will be having a lot of APs to support no a much wider coverage, then you need to have your cell um, overlap. However, your channel should not be overlapping. So for example, this AP here will be using channel 1, then the AP here will be utilizing channel 6, and the AP here will be utilizing channel 11. And so if there is another AP here, so they should be utilizing 6. And if there's an AP here, that should be utilizing 1. So ganun dapat tayo mag-design so that um, one, of course, will not interfere our signal at channel 6, no, as well as in channel 7, because these channels are non-overlapping. So if you're using one, avoid using two for another AP, adjacent AP, three, four, and five. So you should be utilizing next six. All right? To avoid interfering each other's signal, which could affect, of course, the connectivity, performance, no, on the side of the user. All right? With 5 gigahertz, so one good thing about it is that with the 20 megahertz channel width, we have 25 non-overlapping channels. So ito po yung mga to, no? So kaya maganda gamitin yung 5 gigahertz if you have no a lot of AP, and to avoid um interfering each other's signal, then your choices with non-overlapping, you have a lot more with the 5 gigahertz frequency. Okay? As the width of the channel increases, so as the number of non-overlapping channel gets fewer, no? Paliit ng paliit po yan. The commonly used bandwidth, no, is the 20 megahertz for each channel. All right? Now, just remember that to avoid frequency saturation, no, frequency channel saturation, so modulation technique is used, no, to mitigate channel saturation. Okay, old wireless technology used DSS. There was the time that there are certain wireless technology use FHSS. The new APs nowadays are now using OFDM. With this, a single channel can be broken down into multiple sub-channel, and this can be used for transmitting data. No, so that makes OFDM a bit efficient compared with DSS. So what are our components? Let us see, if you are going to implement wireless LAN, what do we need? In our client, dun sa computer natin, you make sure that you have this device having a what? A support for the wireless NIC, no? And this wireless NIC can connect to an AP. That's an AP. So in order to connect wirelessly, so you need a wireless access point. Normally, wireless router have a built-in AP. So we have two options for AP. Either you can use the autonomous or the one which is controlled. No? Okay. This is also known as a LAP, no? Lightweight access point. No? Now, normally the AP is connected to a switch via cable. No, if you want to uh, add more AP, then you're going to connect that AP to another another AP to our switch. Now, as the number of AP increases, now the management seems to become more and more challenging, no? Because if you are going to manage the AP individually as an autonomous AP. So what I'm saying is that these AP are independent from each other, and so you are going to manually and individually configure and monitor and manage them. So that's what you call autonomous AP. But as the number of AP increases, so management becomes more and more tedious, more challenging, and so optionally we can have a what you call a wireless LAN controller, which will centrally manage all our access point. No? Of course, AP have antenna to allow connectivity to and from a wireless clients, and even to or from another AP. No? For the antenna, normally wireless LAN utilizes omnidirectional, meaning antenna will be spread, kumbaga yung ano nila ba, yung signal um, in 360 degrees, no? But there are, of course, AP, which is unidirectional, meaning having an antenna which is directed to a specific, pointing to a certain direction. So examples are having a parabolic dish, no, or Yagi antenna, for example. Okay. And current APs nowadays have multiple antennas, even up to 8 antennas, no, within an AP. So this is to support simultaneous connections from different clients, no, by utilizing these different antennas that is available. Okay. We do have an option, as simple as just simply using wireless NIC to another wireless NIC connection. Okay, these two can directly connect to each other as if they are a point-to-point connection. So that is known as an ad hoc mode. Now, AP typically, if we will be using APs to allow our wireless clients to connect, then that's what you call infrastructure mode. And we have two setup. That's the basic service set, having only one AP. If you have two or more AP implemented and these APs have the same SSID setup, and we call that actually extended service set or ESS. So these are the two setup for the infrastructure mode. We normally implement this one because clients normally connects to an access point. Okay. Now this is the frame format of the frame that is send, no, from a wireless device to another. So one important thing to note here is that in the address field, no, in the MAC header, there are three addresses there. That's the source MAC address, the destination, and also includes the SSID where um, they are connected to. Now, frames can also be there are different, no, frame formats, and there are different forms of frames such as RTS, CTS, acknowledgement, and backup frame. There is also prove request and prove response. So these are also some new frames necessary for the control connection, no, of our clients to AP. So these frames are necessary other than the data frame or other than the data frame. So wireless LAN is basically a half duplex technology. So what do we mean by that is that your AP, no, yung AP natin, yung antenna, kung may antenna kasi yan, itong antenna na to, it cannot support simultaneously receive and transmit. So it can only do one at a time. So if it is receiving, it will only be receiving. While it is sending, it will only be sending. So that's basically a half duplex technology. No? So to avoid collision, so access point uses the MAC method we call CSMA CA. So that is collision avoidance instead of collision detection. So how can this uh, um, be achieved? Okay. So these are controlled frames that is being used, no, by wireless NIC. Okay. Um, if the clients, once it is associated with your AP, okay, if it wants to transmit data, it will need to send a request to send to the AP. Kailangan yung ano mo, yung client mo magsisend dapat siya ng RTS. Okay? Then the AP should reply with CTS, no? Clear to send, which telling the client that it is now granted access. And so that will be the time that the client can now send um, and transmit data frame. And every time the AP receives it, so it must acknowledge, no, the receive of that data frame. So there must be an acknowledgement. All right. So clients can only able to send data Once again, they are associated with the AP. Once they are associated with the AP. And these are the association process. First, AP should be discovered by the client. Once it communicates with the AP will authenticate the client. And once the client is successfully authenticated, and that would be the time that it will be associated with it. For a successful association, these are the requirements. Clients should have the same SSID with the AP, same password, the network mode, meaning the standard. If it is 11 N, it should be 11N. If it's 11AX, it should be 11EX. And they should have the same security mode. And the security parameter set, the key, for example, should also be the same. So if they are using WPA2, both clients and the AP should support the same. And having the same um, key, of course. And they should be what? Communicate on the same channel frequency. Kailangan pareho din po. Okay? Now, how can the client able to discover an AP? Tanong, no? There are two ways to discover AP, passive mode and active mode. So passive mode is that the client will just have to wait for beacon frame. The AP will broadcast the beacon frame regularly, no? It will broadcast beacon frame. And the beacon frame contains information like SSID, the standard that is using, that AP is using, as well as the security settings. And then once the clients try to attempt to connect, no, to that SSID, then the client can be associated with AP once they have the same sets of parameters, um, um, the same, no, with the AP, of course. So the client will just have to wait for beacon frame to be broadcasted by the AP. That's what you call a passive mode. But what if AP is not broadcasting beacon frame? So we actually prevent our AP to broadcast it because you have that option in our AP setting to disable SSID broadcast. So how can then the client able to discover the AP? So it can be done through active mode. So what do we mean by that? We're going to configure the client to send to broadcast approve request. And then once an AP receives that, the AP will reply with approve response. No? So request and then response. And that would be the time that the client will able to discover an AP nearby. Okay? Question so far? Wala bang tanong? Guys, wala kayong tanong? Sigurado kayo? No? So let's move forward. Now, if our AP is controlled, no? Actually, there was two protocol then. One is a Cisco proprietary we called LWAP. And then the standard one is called the CAP-WAP. No, it's not for a while. Let me correct that. Okay. All right. There. So in a controlled environment, so we have actually two options. No? If you're using Cisco equipment, Cisco wireless controller and Cisco access point, You have the Cisco proprietary LWAP, and of course, we have the standard CAP WAP. So we will only be covering here CAP WAP. So this is the standard encapsulation protocol for encapsulating the wireless LAN client data, no? Which is actually transmitted between the AP and the WLC, no? So the encapsulation protocol is called CAP-WAP. This is actually utilizing UDP port 5246 and 5247. And CAP-WAP operates over IP version over protocol 17, no, for IP version 4 and protocol 1364 IP version 6. All right. So CAP-WAP is again a protocol that is used to control access point. So communication between AP and the wireless LAN controller is being encapsulated using this protocol. So once we have two in an environment where AP are controlled by a wireless LAN controller, actually the media access control function are divided or split, no, into the two devices. So the AP function then is the AP is the one that is responsible for broadcasting beacon frame, as well as it is also responding to probe requests using probe response frame, while the wireless LAN controller is the one that authenticates the client. While packet acknowledgement and retransmission is what the AP do once the client is not receiving um, any acknowledgement, no? So from the AP, then the client will retransmit the data. Frame queuing and packet prioritization. So QoS, quality of service, is a function of the AP, as well as data encryption and decryption is also the function of the access point, if there's a need to. While WLC is the one that will associate and reassociate roaming clients, no? Yung mga clients natin. If it is moving from one example AP to another. Now, frame translation to other protocols, that's the wireless LAN controller, and the data traffic from the client received by the AP will be forwarded to the WLC, and then WLC will forward that to the switch for switching and forward that to the router for routing. Okay? So ang traffic flow ng data from the client going to the AP, then AP to the WLC, and then WLC to the switch or to the router. So ganun po ang flow ng data traffic natin. Okay? Now, CAPWAP, DTLS encryption. So DTLS provides security between AP and WLC. So DTLS is enabled by default now for securing CAPWAP control channel, meaning that communication between the AP and the WLC is actually encrypted, no, yung communication nila. However, the data encryption is disabled by default and requires DTLS license. No? Okay. Now, what about the EP mode? No? In terms of using the Flix Connect mode, so meaning actually the Flix Connect is used to connect AP to the WLC. Let us say the WLC is somewhere in the headquarters, and then you have APs in the branch. So Flex Connect with Connect mode, it is really required that the AP should be connected always to the WLC via CAPWAP tunnel. However, there is that option to support standalone, in which in case AP cannot reach the WLC, the access point can actually locally switch the client data, no, to the network. Okay? And also locally authenticate the clients. No, that is when we are implementing Flex Connect AP in standalone mode. So these are the different um, Cisco AP mode. So I have already discussed the Flex Connect. Okay. So when the AP is in local mode, normally this is the default no of lightweight access point, in which the AP is communicating with the WLC through that CAPWAP tunnel. Once it is in bridge mode, so this is implementing mesh APs, in which these APs are connected to each other through a point-to-point bridging. Oh, so parang ano sila, no? Ang connection between AP is through wireless connection. So sometimes you call it a backhaul, no, some kind of a backbone to connect AP to another AP. SE connect mode. So this is used to analyze, no, the wireless channel for interference. So very useful for troubleshooting. Okay. Sniffer mode AP, which is using the AP, having it in passive mode to monitor wireless environment for troubleshooting as well. No? Other modes like monitor, no, rogue detector AP, as well as flex plus bridge mode. So these are the other modes of our Cisco access points. Okay? So I think that's all for today. Okay? So I will not overwhelm you with a lot of discussions. So next meeting, I think we'll have um, the next part of this exam objective. So we will discuss on the physical infrastructure connection components. No, um, what else? We also have this one, the last one. Interpret the wireless LAN GUI. So I think meron lang tayo ditong ano, demo. And then lastly, we'll talk about network device management access. No? So differences between Telnet, SSH, HTTP, HTTPS, console, TACAC radius, and cloud manage options. All right. So that's all for today, guys. So I hope you've learned something, and maybe you have um refreshed, no, certain things, um topics in relation to wireless LAN. Okay, thank you so much for being with us, no, tonight, and hopefully to see you again next Saturday. Okay?